Hello friends, welcome to BISP Solutions. Myself Ashwin and I work as a technical consultant at BISP. BISP is a tech company and provide technological solutions across the world. Now, this is our first webinar and this is a series of webinar, and in this webinar series of 6 webinars, I will show you how the data migration is done step by step. Okay, now just a second. Okay, now in this webinar series I will show you the complete process of how we are going to set up the complete system and how we will migrate the data from the source, that is the QB QuickBooks, to Fusion. I will show you the technical aspect, right? So let's see first, but before jumping to the migration part, the sole technical part, we need to know about the other things, that how we will select the data, how we will identify what data is to be migrated. So all these things, so I will show you one by one process. So first of all, let's see that a client company approaches to us and they say that yeah, we want to migrate the data. So first of all, what's the scenario or what's the problem? Then we will see what's our role in that. Then steps of data migration we will see, and steps of data migration after that, analysis, identification of data to be migrated. And in this complete process I will take you through the BRD creation process, also the designing part, the implementation part, and then we will see the discussion on migration, because directly jumping to the technical part will make it more complicated for you. So that is why I will make you familiar with first initial processes, that how we are going to work, right? Now let's have a look. That let's take an example that a company is using QuickBooks for the last 10 years and that company is located in US. Now company recently opened a new company or a child company in India. Now see, QuickBooks, as we know that QuickBooks is operating in US, it's not operating in India. So now the client company has to switch to other ERP. So they decided to switch to Fusion ERP. Now here our role comes, that how we are going to migrate the data. See here again, I have written here what the problem. In one word, in one line, we can say that yeah, company is has opened its child company in India and they want to move the data from their source QuickBooks to Fusion, and now we are helping them to migrate the data from QuickBooks to Fusion. Now first of all, whenever the question comes that yeah, you have to migrate the data, so first of all we need to see what they are working, how they are working, exactly what process they are following, and after examining that process, then we will prepare a BRD, that exactly what the data that we need to migrate, right? So we need to first of all identify exactly what data is to be migrated. Then let's have a look on this complete scenario. See here, if you see about the complete system, source system QB QuickBooks, and they want to migrate to target system, that is the Fusion, right? Now if you see, our process goes through analysis part. Let's take a pen. First of all we will do the analysis part. Now in this analysis part, what we are going to do, designing forms, designing the logics, and then adding the fields in form, because this is called first of all analysis. No, analysis means exactly what we are going to do, what tasks that are assigned to us. Second thing is information gathering, right? The information gathering means whatever we have decided that these things that we have to migrate, so in that case we have to gather the information about that. For example, if the client says that they want to move historical transaction data only, financial data, that's it. Apart from that, they are not interested in CRM or the human resource information. They are not interested. They just want to move the business part only. They want to manage the client information manually in the Excel sheet. That is up to them. So this is what information that we have to first identify exactly what we are going to move. Then comes designing and implementation. Now designing and implementation, here comes the role designing forms. Here is designing forms, designing logics, adding field, creating searches, and then creating reports. Now what are these? See, designing and implementation means, for example, in QuickBook, they are using the sales order form, right? But that sales order form is having very few information. But when now they are thinking that when at least we are moving from our QuickBooks to Fusion, in that case, let's do one thing, add some additional information in the sales order form. So this thing all comes in the customization part. This is called the customization that we are going to do here. So we are implementing their suggestions, their requirements, right? After that, so now once we have created the forms, we have created the printout formats also. Now in that case, we have done all these things under the part of implementation, designing, and customization. All these things we have done. Now next part is data migration. Here is the main subject of our webinar. Our webinar will revolve around this main subject, right? That is the data migration. Now what is data migration? So see here is the source system QuickBooks, and here is the target system, that is the Fusion. Right now in this case we are taking Fusion. Now whatever the source data, that source data will be kept in the staging part, and then from staging part we will move this data to main target system. So here comes the role, here comes our role, that is ETL, extract, transform, and load. Now see, again let's have a recap. See here, they have asked us to move the data. We have identified that, yeah, this thing that we have to move only financial data, that's it, or only the transaction data we have to move. Now in that case, what we have done, we have first done the analysis, then collected the information only related to transaction data only. Not we will not demand for salary slip of the client or employee. This is not under our scope, right? Then we will see the data migration. Once you have arranged all the forms and printouts, formats, and everything, now in that case we will move the data. From now onwards, whatever they will fill in the Fusion, that is another thing, but you have to move data from QuickBooks to Fusion, right? So this is called the migration process. And here comes the first term, very first term, that is extract, transform, and load. Extract, transform, and load means taking the data from the source system, transforming the data, and then uploading the data into the target system, that is the Fusion. Now what is ETL? Transformation means what exactly? Now see here, whenever we download the Excel sheet from QuickBooks or any other ERP which is that we are not familiar with, right? Now whatever the Excel sheets they will provide us, so what they will do, they will just hit the button and they will download the Excel sheet, and now they are not concerned that what is written in that. They will just provide us the Excel sheet. Now that Excel sheet might be meaningful for us or it may not be meaningful for us, because many times what happens, the data comes in the format in such a way that it is not meaningful and ready to upload. Okay, so that is why transformation is done. For example, let me show you with an example first. I will show you with an example. Let's take this example. I am opening a fresh CSV format Excel sheet. And let's open this fresh. Now suppose name and then the address, then the like city, right, then street name. Okay, let's this is enough. Like name is Peter. Okay, address is like okay, New York. That's it. Now see, you can see here, if the same thing is written here, David. Okay, now suppose when you ask the client that please give us the Excel sheet, now definitely it may be useful for you and it may not be useful, because whatever the Excel sheet downloaded by other system, now it's up to that system that in what format they will download the Excel sheet, because we never know that what type of Excel sheet that you will receive. Either the initial 10 rows are useless for us, so we don't know. So that is why here the transformation is required, right? Here comes transformation, right? Just hold on. Okay, now this is called the transformation. Now here two methodologies are used. One is lift and shift, and then transform and shift. Lift and shift means just pull the data from the source and then shift it as it is without making even a single change in the Excel sheet. Now, so this is how and the second is, as we see, transform and lift. So first of all, we have to transform the data. Now transformation of data, now how ETL is done, here I have explained you the procedure, but before that let's have a look on the BRD part. We will go it step by step, right? Here, as you can see here, steps of data migration. One is analysis, then the information gathering. Okay, now analysis, let's see here. I am showing you a simple example of a BRD, right? Okay, now see here, here I am showing you one BRD document. Now in this BRD document, see, whenever before starting any work or any task or any project, it's a mandatory work that you have to create a BRD. BRD contains each and everything what you are providing them, what they are working on, what you are providing them, and then what will be the impact. Each and everything will be written in the BRD. Okay, now see here, business requirement document. Now here, this is the first page. This is the revision history. Revision history means how many times this document has been upgraded. Reviewers. Now reviewers means, reviewers and approval means how many people have seen this application in its developing phase, and the approval means how many has approved, right? Now let's see here. This is the table of content. This is I am explaining you just for having at least a knowledge of what parallel activities are going on along with main technical activity. Now see here, you can see table of content. Now table of content, as we all know, it is easy to create, and we can easily jump to that particular page, right? So that is why this is the table of content. Now let me show you. Okay, now this table of content, now see here, in the very first part of the BRD we have to give some introduction of our company, that exactly what our company is doing, right? Secondly is overview or our vision. Now second is our vision. So whatever the vision your company is working on, or whatever the project plan, future plan, that you can keep it. Okay, then let's come to the project overview. Now project overview means, first of all we have to identify that what data we are going to move, right? Now you can see here, you can see information, company information. Now we are moving to the BRD part. So this is the company information that we are going to upload. Okay, upload in the target system, which is Fusion. Okay, now this is the information that we are going to upload. Now since it's a one-time activity, so we will allow the user to fill it from your side, right? Here we have written why client wants to switch to Fusion Fusion, right? Now another is project scope. Now see, project scope means whatever we are going to provide to the client, right? So that is called the scope, and here we have to be very specific about what we are going to provide or what we are going to migrate, because whatever written inside the scope, that will be your final commitment. If you deviate from what you have written in the scope, then the client will not listen to you. So we have to write down the scope points very carefully. Here you can see, here we have already mentioned that what is in our scope. GL implementation will be in our scope, GL balance migration will also be in our scope, AP implementation, AP data migration. Now here you can see, while writing this, we have written last 2 years only. Okay, we have already specified that we are not going to import the data beyond last 2 years. Okay, so this is what we have clearly mentioned at the initial level. Then here also you can see AR implementation, AR data migration. Okay, active customer details, all these things we will demand from the user, and here you can see last 2 years only. So why last 2 years only? Because the company might be using QuickBooks for the last 10 years. So now will you upload last 10 years data? So that is why we have to mention that, okay, no problem, we will upload the data of last 2 years. Clear? Okay, now when we decide that the data is to be migrated, now suppose if the data that is right now at this stage, if you feel difficulty that we can't upload that much data, so what we can do, we can divide the project into phase, right? Phase 1, phase 2, and after this what we are not going to provide, we can put it into out scope. Phase 2, phase 1 means immediately what we are going to work on. Phase 1 means exactly phase 2 means exactly what we are going to do in our next step, and it starts immediately your after your first phase is completed. Outscope means what we are not going to provide you. Okay, so outscope means we are not, suppose here it is written like SCM, HRM, these things will not be entertained in the first phase. Okay, so up to here, is it clear? Okay, now outscope is done. Now let's see what is the current process. Let me show you again. First of all, the company profile, then the master data insertion, and then these are the 4, right? Description, and then the description here, project scope, whatever we are going to show. Now let's go down. Okay, now see here, first of all, when you have decided that yeah, okay, we are going to migrate the data from QuickBooks to Fusion, right? So now you have to identify what you are going to cook, exactly what you are going to do. Clear? And this thing should be seen in the paper also. Okay, now in this BRD, what we are going to show, the current and the proposed process. Current and the proposed process means okay, here we have seen here enterprise structure with reporting. Now this is their current process. Now you can see easily, now it would be easy for you to relate. Here is the current process, and then here you can see ABC, and the BU is US, business unit is US. Primary ledger we have already defined what type of date format, and here we have written accounting method, US GAAP, all these things, right? So all these things we have explained, their current process, right? And now in the integration, or we can say the migration, now Indian primary ledger, we have explained each and everything, that what is the secondary ledger, what is the primary ledger, how they are connected with each other. Okay, now after coming to India, what you will receive here, so ABC India, and then the ABC BU India. Okay, let's go to the COA structure. Now COA structure means it's nothing, chart of account structure. Now let's come here, COA structure. Yes, now COA structure means, first of all, what we are going to upload, the vendor information, the vendor information, the customer information, all these things are shown in the. Okay, now just a second, hold on. Now here you have already decided that we will upload first the COA structure and then the organization structure. Then we have shown here that exactly after that. Now see here, after that we will see here, we will show you the flowchart. See, in the document of BRD we have to mention all these things, because how you are going to perform your actions, this is what we have to show. Now this COA structure we have to define first, that exactly what COA structure they are following. Then let's see here, accounting period, exactly what type of accounting period and in there, like for example in the US the 1 January to 31st of January, December, and here in the India like 1st April to 31st of March is our financial year. Let's go up. Now currency information also we have to extract. Now currency information means, for example, company, what if the company is in America, then in that case what currency will be application, and now they are coming to India, so what information that, right? So this is how we have to define each and everything in the BRD. Now in BRD you have to show this GL process flow, workflow, GL, right? Now we have already defined that this is how the process is we will define in the Fusion, right? Then these are the reports that we are going to provide. Okay, now here when we are committed to migrate the data from sales from transaction from the QuickBooks to Fusion, so we have to define this what type of reporting, because again as I previously in my videos keeps you telling that higher authorities are very much interested in reports, right? So higher authorities need only reports, and you have to provide the reports only. You can't show the complete software and then just a second. Okay, now let's have a look here. Okay, now see here. Now here we have already defined that O2C and P2P. Now see, when we talk about the complete process working, we have to show that what type of records that we are migrating. Here in our in scope we have already defined that, here in scope GL, balance migration, and then AP implementation, AP data migration, AR implementation, AR data migration. So when we have defined each and everything, and we have to take the sign off from the client, so that is what I am showing you, that these things are necessarily to be included in the document, because for successful completion of any project it is highly recommended to first prepare the BRD and then take the sign off from the client, and then you can move further. So this is what we have shown, that this is what new things that we are going to offer them, right? These are the new things. And suppose if you are doing migration also, or sorry, integration also with any another software, then that also you have to show here. Right now this BRD is prepared for only data migration purposes, that whatever the data is there, that you have to migrate from QuickBooks to Fusion. Okay, then you can see proposed P2P process. Here I have explained that how our P2P will work after you after you are migrated into Fusion. Let's move ahead. Data migration. Yes, as I have already shown you this image, the data migration part. See, this data migration part, here is our main role, that whatever the data in the source system, that we have to extract and how to transform it and then again upload it into the target system. That's it. Okay, so let's move further. This is the data migration. Now in this data migration, so let me explain you this flow chart also. Client will download the data in Excel sheet. See, data migration consists of some steps. Now focus on these steps of migration, which will be very useful for you. First of all, the client will download the Excel sheet of, let's take an example, Excel sheet of a sales order, right? Or sales order or the customer data, right? Let's take customer data. Okay, now that sheet, first of all, the sheet is captured and it is stored into the staging area. Now here another, I'm introducing another term to you, that is the staging area. Exactly what is staging area? Staging area means like the data is captured from the source system and then it is kept in a place, somewhere in the place where you can pick that data. That's called the staging area, right? Now after that, verifying the data for consistency. First of all, verifying the data. Now what is consistency data and what type of, let me show you with an example. I am showing you the supplier file. Just give me a second. See, now this vendor file or the supplier file I received from QuickBooks. Okay, now you can see the about top 6 rows, the 6 rows, about top 6 rows. These rows are not meaningful to us, they are meaningless to us. So here comes the role of data massaging. Now data massaging means what? See here. Now data massaging means verifying the data for consistency. Now we have done the verification of data for consistency, it's not consistent, right? Then we will move further. If it is no, if it's a no, then it will again go and ask the client that please download the Excel sheets again. Then from there the data will go to the staging area, and from staging area it comes to us. Okay, now, and if it's yes, is the data consistent? Yes. So now massaging of data begins. Put the massage data in uploading staging area. Now massaged, after once the massage is done, whatever the upgraded data, that is to be kept in staging area. Now you can put another name, that is upgraded staging area, right? So you can do that also. After that, upload the files in sandbox environment. Now we are going to upload the files in the sandbox environment, right? And once the sandbox environment is showing the correct output, in that case we will upload it into the production. So see here, is the testing successful? We have to upload the data into the sandbox, and then we have to perform the testing, then validate the data in production. After installing the data into the production, why this 2-3 layer testing is done? The main thing is that repeating the same process is a time consuming also. So that is why we are trying to eliminate the repeating process. Then after that, validate the data in production. In production, testing successful, migration of successful. Then comes documents parameters. Now what's documents parameters? Documents parameters means, it's very simple, whatever the documents that you are going to demand. For example, if someone says that please do this work, for that what we will demand that, okay, what are the supporting documents do you have? In that case we can complete your task. So this is how the document list that we are going to, document parameter, document list we are going to ask, and then we have to inform the about the resources deployed on this project. Now resources means one functional developer, one technical developer. So these are the resources that we have deployed on it. Another point is assumptions. Now these assumptions means what? Assumption means certain things that we will keep it in our mind that, okay, no problem, whatever the information that you will be giving, that will be impact related documents will be provided as per project demand. Okay. Then limitations of target system. Let's see here what are the limitations of target system. So we have to define these limitations also in, of the target system. Then software and hardware requirement, right? So these are whatever the software that you are using. Okay, this is mandatorily recommended that you have to define the hardware and software requirements also, because many times what happens, we hand over the project to the customer, and then if any error comes, in that case they will blame us. So that's the reason why we have to define the operating system information, browser information, and then hardware requirement, all these things, because in future the client should not say that these things were not shown to me. Okay. And then the milestone task means all the step-by-step process. Okay, first is project planning, another is requirement and analysis, then the design stage, then the import existing client data, create GUI, implementation, testing. Okay, so guys, this was all about, and at the bottom of the page you have to write down the detail of yourself, whatever the company, as a company place, company address, everything, right? So guys, this was all about the BRD part. Now let's focus on our project. Information gathering means same thing, everything is to be collected before the work starts, right? Now the designing part and implementation part. Designing part and implementation part means, for example, through information gathering we received the information. Now we will go through the each and every information of the client. Now the client says that there should be one more memo field. So for that, our developer will go inside the NetSuite and then he will make change in that and everything will be fine. right? So information, implementation, and then brief discussion. So BID creation, BID designing and implementation. So these are the fields that we have to create. And then implementation means we have to insert the data inside that sandbox environment, and after that we will move that into the production. So here comes the migration part. Now let's see here. I will show you the migration part. Now this migration part is done into certain tasks. Now what are those certain tasks? First of all, we will ask the client to download the Excel sheets of your source data. So first of all, the client will provide us source data. Okay, source data is received. Then kept into the kept into the staging area. Okay, into the staging area, perform some operations. Test data and sandbox. Move that data into the production. So this is the complete process. Now we have seen today source data is received. Now source data, how this source data is received, I will show you again. Now see here, this data, you can see this is not consistent data. It's not meaningful. Why? Because these initial two lines are empty. Here also one line is empty. So in the data migration, we have to do the massaging part of the data, and how this massaging is done, that we will see in our upcoming videos. But in one line, you can say that yes, to remove the inconsistent data, unnecessary rows and columns. Let me show you this. There is customer mapping. You can see here now this data, if you see here, this is inconsistent, right? You can see now this, there is no any idea, you are not getting any idea after having a look on this. But if I show you, see here, now this is meaningful data. So this is how we do the migration part, and in this migration part we have to apply the Python and Excel sheet concepts. It is not necessary that you should use Python only. There is another option that is called macro, that we will see in our upcoming classes. So guys, let's have a quick look here. First of all, receiving source data is received. Okay, now it could be an Excel sheet or any sheet. We have to convert it into the Excel sheet because we work on Excel sheet. Then kept in the staging area. Okay, the source data is received and kept in the staging area, pulled from staging area. That table is pulled from the staging area, and after that it then perform some operations. Once the data is inside the staging area, then we have to pull that data. So here is another staging area, and then perform some operations and then test data in sandbox. Okay, now let's have a look here. If I show you something new, vendor part. I think one vendor is already open. Okay, now see here, this is the meaningless data. If you see here, from this to number 35, this is absolutely useless for us. So how would we show the reporting? So one more application of this Fusion is that you can arrange the columns, you can copy and paste all these things. Now see here, initial 35 rows will be deleted, and from there after that you will have to arrange. Okay, so now let's again come. See here, it has shown that suppose there are two systems, and then suppose here let me show you with an example. Okay, now migration means taking the data from the source, changing the headers, and then just upload that data. That is called the transformation and load. ETL, extract, transformation and load. Now transformation means arranging the data as per our requirements. Clear? Okay, now suppose in your source system address was called as ADDR1. Okay, everywhere it is written ADDR1, but now in client, in this phase, the client says that okay, no, we want to make some changes also, like change the date format. When they were in America, so DDMMYY, sorry, MMDDYY. Now they are in India, so they have to use INR rupees. Okay, so now if I see our today's webinar, that is today's webinar is what is the scenarios, what are the problem, what are the role steps of data migration, analysis, implementation, right? So this is to be done in our migration project. Now tomorrow I will show you exactly how the data is captured, right? How the data is captured, how we will ask the database administrator from the client side. Now see here, keep one thing in mind, that when we are working on any project, definitely the client he is also interested exactly what you are going and how it is going to be done, right? So guys, thanks for attending today's webinar, and if you are new for this if you are new to this channel, then please keep watching my channel or subscribe my channel, and then in our tomorrow's session we will see how data will be extracted, transformation and load, that is in our next session. In today's webinar, I have shown you the very initial first part, how you when you the client connects with you, then at that time what you have to do. Now tomorrow we will see how data is extracted and then how it is mapped. What are the mapping files, right? So guys, please subscribe my channel. Thanks for attending the seminar.